Hello and welcome to In the Know. I'm Mark Crosby. Thank you for joining us. In the Know is a program that looks at various events that happen in the city and issues. Well, today we are talking about an event that will be happening. It's called Fair Saturday. And joining me to talk all about Fair Saturday, I will introduce all that have joined me in the studio. Thank you so much for joining me today. We will have quite a discussion with all of you involved, so thank you.
Thank you.
To my left is Jordi Albareda. He is the founder and director of Fair Saturday. Next to him is John McDonald of JM Productions. To my right is Maureen Gary. She is Quincy's Director of Business and Government Relations. And next to her is Bob Damon. He is the public historian in the city of Quincy. And you also go by another title.
I'm a Historic Heritage Resource Officer.
So
Yep.
Thank you and welcome to you all.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Mark.
Jordi, welcome back from Spain to Quincy, Massachusetts. And I'd like to kind of refresh for folks that maybe didn't see the last show about a little bit about Fair Saturday, its origin, and the big question, what is Fair Saturday?
Yeah. So thank you, Mark. So Fair Saturday probably is the largest cultural movement with a social impact nowadays in the world. So we try, the day after Black Friday, we are not against consumerism, but the day after Black Friday, we try to provoke a massive mobilization around art and culture. But instead of doing that by reducing the prices, we only ask artists and cultural organizations that take part of to support the social cause of the choice. So this way, this is like a triple win. So we are creating a day for the cultural sector and for the artists themselves. We are creating a day to raise the profile for many social organizations, and we are creating a very beautiful day. So this is the combination of beauty, art and culture, and fairness, social support to social causes.
And talk about the beginning. When did Fair Saturday begin? And how has it done through the ages?
Yeah, that's a beautiful story. So we started 5 years ago in the city of Bilbao, the region of Biscay, which is a region very, very committed to social issues. So we convinced 20 choirs to perform on that day. And they decided to perform on different venues all across the city. So the question was, who is going to attend my concert if we all perform at the same time in different venues? And the response of Bilbao's society was incredible. And since then, the project is growing a lot. So from Bilbao went to Huelva and Malaga in the south of Spain, and then to Bristol. And we should make a point about Scotland. So Scotland last year announced the Prime Minister that was the first nation to join in officially, linking to their national celebration of St. Andrews, because Scotland wants to be open and connected to the world, and wants to be open and connected based on fairness, based on inclusivity, diversity. So Scotland last year celebrated the first Fair Saturday, St. Andrews Fair Saturday. And then we should talk about Lisbon, Leeuwarden in the Netherlands, Helsinki, and this year for us it's very important. This year is the year where Fair Saturday starts in the US, and Quincy is going to be the first US city to celebrate Fair Saturday.
Right, I remember you saying that from the last program, so that's quite an accomplishment, quite a partnership. And Maureen, I'll turn to you now because I'd like to know how Quincy became a part of Fair Saturday.
Well, it was quite simple, actually. Some of my colleagues from the Boston-Cambridge area met with Jordi to talk about the Fair Saturday initiative, and as we know, Cambridge and Boston are very vibrant cities. Their cultures are rich, and they're very, very busy with activities and festivals going on. And so they weren't, not that they weren't interested in Fair Saturday, but they just weren't at this particular point. And so I was introduced to Jordi, and I felt that Fair Saturday kind of fell into what Quincy is looking to do, and that's rising up our cultural organizations and and creating another way for people to seek entertainment, basically. So it was as simple as having a conversation and thinking that it really, Jordy's initiatives just kind of tied in with what the city's looking to do.
Now, Quincy, as you had mentioned, was #1 in the country to sign on, but since the last show, you've also had some other interest.
Yeah, I mean, we should talk about Atlanta. Atlanta City in Georgia is joining, and the whole state of Massachusetts as well, partnering with the Mass Cultural Council. We will host many events all across Massachusetts. But for me, Quincy being the first city in the US is quite exciting, it's quite meaningful as well. So many things started in Quincy.
But there is some connection to the presidents, correct?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we did not come to Quincy because of that. So as Maureen was explaining, we did come to Quincy because some connections we had in common. And the meeting we had with Maureen and all the city council's team was probably one of the best meetings we have had in the past 2-3 years, because we realized in the very first 2 minutes that something was to happen there. But then a few months later, we realized that John Adams and his son, John Quincy Adams, one of their first trips to Europe they went to Bilbao.
Okay.
They went to the Bay of Biscay to understand our current, our would say constitution, our tradition, about our laws, because Basque laws are very ancient, very solid, and then since then we maintain our traditions. So there was like a very moving connection hundreds of years before. So this is like how we complete, or we reopen the circle again, coming back to Quincy with a gift that I would say, and Bob can explain much more better than me, that I think First Saturday is very related to John Adams and John Quincy Adams' thoughts, the ethos and the spirit. I've read a lot about their thoughts, and as much as I read, the more I believe somehow is connected for any strange reason.
And we should certainly turn to Bob now, because you have the historical perspective on all of this, and talk about a little bit about that and your involvement in Fair Saturday here, as well as Quincy 400.
Sure. So I think one of the things that Jordy was referencing was, John Adams and John Quincy Adams were trying to get to Paris. And their job was to go back there to continue to raise financial support for the American Revolution. The ship they were on was in such bad shape that the only place they were able to get to was a storm literally blew them into the Bay of Biscay and blew them into the Basque region of Spain, and quite literally they got off the boat and it sank. It's not quite as dramatic as that, but it's pretty close.
Okay, but for a half-hour show, that works.
Right.
That sounds...
And instead of deciding to get back on a ship and sail around northern Spain, John Adams decides to take his son on the overland journey. And he's doing so because it's almost a research trip for him. He's looking at and traveling through some of the oldest democratic republics in Europe during a time when the colonies in America are looking to establish a fully democratic system of government. So John Adams sees this as a great place to go and learn from those who have been practicing democracy for a long time. And along the way, he tells his 16-year-old son, well, start looking around and then keep a diary. Write down what you see, reflect on it. What are the different cultural elements that you see? Absorb the world around you and learn from what you see. That would be the start of a diary that it would end up being according to the Massachusetts Historical Society, include 2.1 million linear feet of reflections and writings from John Quincy Adams over the course of the rest of his life. And that spirit of learning from others, I think, is probably what I hear when I hear Jordy talking about that. This larger idea that for John Adams, there was an opportunity to learn from others, to help and gain knowledge that he could bring back to his home to build the kind of new world that they were hoping to build in the context of the Revolutionary Project. And bringing that back to Quincy today, I think that's a larger part of the spirit of what's happening in Quincy right now. We're looking forward to our 400th anniversary of the first European settlement here. And through the Quincy 400 initiative, the mayor has sort of reached out to the community and said, tell me, where do you think Quincy should be by the time we reach our 400th anniversary? Where do we want to be together? And I think the spirit of what Jordy talked about in terms of this spirit of bringing people together in a celebration of local arts and culture, but also of the good that people do within our communities, the social service organizations that work so hard, very often in places that we don't see from day to day, to improve the quality of life for people across the community, to bring human expressions of art and culture and human expressions of empathy together in the context of a day and celebrate those, I think is a real part of that larger spirit of what the mayor is challenging us to do in the context of its 400th anniversary.
And let's talk about the components. There are two components to Fair Saturday. You have the charities and you have the artists. So let's talk about participation. The date is November 30th. It's obviously on a Saturday. And it really does bring in both of those elements, both the charities and the artists. And we'll talk, John, in a moment about some of the artists scheduled for Quincy already. The charities, and I don't know who would speak, if someone would speak directly to the charities that have already signed up or the charities that have shown interest. But first, just the concept, the idea that charities and artists are involved together.
Yeah. So from the first of the foundation, we believe that in those times we are living of uncertainty, there are, among others, there are two main pillars for the future. The first one is culture. So as much culture we have in nowadays in the society, the more solid is our level of discussion. So we need culture. We need arts and culture. So the artists and the culture organizations are the ones we are protecting sometimes the truth. They are creating the future. They are inspiring people. And at the same time, we need social empathy. Social empathy in order to think about those who are in need. So if we combine arts and culture and social empathy on that day, we ask people to attend cultural performances and to realize the value that art and culture and the artists and culture organizations gives to the society. And on that day, the culture organizations have decided with this performance to support a social cause of the choice in three ways.
Now, would this be monetary? Could it be monetary? What are the different ways that an artist could support a social cause?
There are three ways. The first one is to say publicly, we are proud of you. So we want to raise your profile. So maybe, I don't know, I'm guessing, Quincy Choral Society, for example, they have decided, or they will decide, to whom support. Second, they allow the social cause, the charity, to explain 5-10 minutes before the performance to whom they are supporting and what they are doing for a better world. And third, part of the value could be tickets of donations go to this charity. Could be 10% of the tickets, could be 50, could be 100%. So every performance has a different way of supporting different social causes. We are a very flexible model. We only want to link a cultural performance with a social cause, a purpose, a charity.
So John, turning to you and taking these two elements and putting them together, these two groups. Talk about how that is working in the city of Quincy currently. And of course, there is still time for both a social organization, social cause, and artists to sign up.
Sure. So one of the responsibilities that I had was to reach out to these different art organizations that exist. So the top three we can think of without really spending too much time. We have the Symphony, we have the Choral Society, we have the Art Association. So those are the heavy hitters. Those are the top three. And they all have expressed interest. The Choral Society embraced this concept immediately, as did the art organization, group with Kelly. So those organizations have not shared with us just yet who they're identifying as their charity of choice. There's a process that they have to go through, which is going through the fairsaturday.org website, and they fill out an application, and that's when they would do the identifying. So we made suggestions, but we really kind of were hands off with that. That's up to the organization themselves.
Right.
So when you mentioned would a charity, get involved, that would be if an art organization connected those dots.
Okay.
We wouldn't be going out looking for charities to join us.
So it's an art organization that decides they want to support A
A,
or
B, C,
B,
yeah,
C
correct,
social cause.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there are, fringe may not be the best word, but there are other organizations that perhaps don't have the identity of a 501c3 nonprofit that have been working in the community as an individual art group. It could be a duo, a trio, it could be dancers, musicians. There's a whole host of artists that we put the feelers out and let them know about this exciting event. And they've come to us with suggestions. And then what we did, part of my responsibility and the team's responsibility, was to find locations that perhaps they can show their art. So we kind of became a clearinghouse for those groups. And then in a hands-off approach, let them take it from there. So we identify the art organization, we then identify potential venues for them to perform, and then we connect them to Jordy's organization.
Right.
That's where the steering committee has been working since the beginning.
And we should mention that all events happen on the 30th. They all
Correct.
happen on that day.
Correct.
So, I'm sorry, if I can just intervene, I would say that there's a third participant here. And those are the people who come to Fair Saturday.
Good.
And I think it's really important to have folks be thinking about that as well. You don't have to be a performer or a member of a charity to support
Just be in the
this
audience.
larger movement and the spirit of it that Jordy described, right? It is on the Saturday after what we know of as Black Friday. And that's not accidental. As Jordy said, it's not in opposition to Black Friday, but perhaps it is a different way of thinking about that coming holiday spirit that we all are so used to here in the United States. So again, those people who choose to come to support the artists with their participation, with their ticket purchase or their donations, is also, I think, that third component of this as well. This is a larger interactive piece for everyone within the community.
So how would, let's say we're on Saturday the 30th. As far as venues go, as far as collections go, ticket prices go, how would that be handled?
So
for folks that are watching, how would they know?
One of the missions for our organization is also to enhance the restaurant experience in our community. So we're hoping that people come to the day of event and then perhaps bring their family out to one of the many restaurants and have dinner after the event. So it's not to say that a venue outside of the downtown cannot participate. We certainly are open to that, but we have identified as examples the Quincy Historic Society building, President's Place, the Church of Presidents, City Hall, the library. So if you just do a map in your brain, you get that's the downtown community. But Eastern Nazarene College was interested in being involved. Perhaps they will be on site on their campus, or perhaps they'll do something under the tent, let's say. So it's a kind of a mixed situation.
And Jordy, artists can choose to charge admission and again support the social cause financially, or they could not charge admission and support the social cause by allowing them to speak and really project their mission.
Yeah, of course. I mean, many social causes want somebody to help them to raise their voice. For example, this is the case of AIDS. I mean, AIDS still exists, is over there, and we need to tell the people that there are many organizations fighting for the rights and fighting for the people with AIDS, for example. And in terms of the financial, if the artists or the cultural organizations set the price, this is a ticket. But if the audience sets the price, this is a donation. So whether through donations or tickets, the artists support the social causes. For us, as a First Statute Foundation, it's very important transparency to know which amount of the price of the donation goes to the social cause, to charity. And the website and all the stuff, the material, people will know which part of the value goes to the cultural organization to support the work in the future, and which part goes to the social cause. So it's very important, this third component of the First Saturday. This is the audience, this is the people. Yeah. So only by attending on that day to First Saturday, and by attending any cultural performance, you are supporting first a cultural organization. You are supporting second a social cause. Third, you are doing the same that many other people, not only in Quincy, in many cities worldwide. So this is like a positive day.
Well, let's talk about, as we get closer to the date, and we should mention that October 15th is the deadline for artists and their social organization, their charitable organization, to partner and sign up together to be part of the publicity for Fair Saturday in Quincy, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
So with that said, then folks that will be attending, that will likely be attending, can go onto the Fair Saturday website and find out possibly a list of performing artists and venues and social charities?
Yes.
Yes, and also the City of Quincy website will roll it out on a local level, but it's certainly, if you go to fairsaturday.org, you will see our presence there. But on the local level, we'll put it as a press release into the Ledger, into the Quincy Sun. We will do our own press campaign to roll it out.
And Jordy, as we talk about press, part of Fair Saturday's mission is to publicize, obviously, the groups that do become involved. So talk about that as far as being able to project who will be a part of Fair Saturday in 2019.
Yeah, as you were mentioning, we will have all the Quincy program into the website. We have an app as well, First Saturday app. If you download the app and you select Quincy, you will see all the specific program for Quincy. And from the First Saturday Foundation, in collaboration with the steering committee here in Quincy, we will promote it through social media, different channels of social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. So in the last 3 weeks of November, 3 weeks prior to the First Saturday day, we will try to make as much noise as possible to make people know what's going to happen on that day, and to allow them, people, families, to do their own agenda during the day. Maybe at 10 I will go to wherever, or 12
Map
maybe,
out their day.
Yeah, of course. This is our purpose, to create a very beautiful day.
And I'm going to turn, oh, I'm sorry,
Well, I
John.
just wanted to say that for us in the city of Quincy, we are now on an international scale, being part of this organization and being the first in the United States. That's a very special position for the city of Quincy to have. And so when I talked about the rolling out on the local level, can you imagine with when Jordy and his team, what they're going to do on an international level? So for cultural organizations, this is a home run. This is very exciting because, you know, as art organizations, there are some challenges and trying to bring awareness to your group. This opens the world up in front of them, and I think that's one of the real exciting parts of this day.
And we had recently in the city Arts Fest, and Bob, you were there.
Yep.
You were at a fair Saturday table. So I would assume that there are events from this point on that you will be attending throughout the city to basically increase awareness.
Yes, we will. So we will have that outreach effort going this coming weekend at the Food Truck and Music Festival right here in downtown Quincy. And in a number of different other venues, less formal, less sort of large in their scale. But Mark, if I could, I want to come back to what John was just saying, because there's also something unique that's going to be happening this year for Fair Saturday that's directly related to one of the arts and culture organizations that are participating in Fair Saturday. And I don't want to talk about it. I'll let John and Jordy talk about that, but I want to remind you, because you guys are going to an event later after the show is over tonight.
Correct.
To rehearse for that. And so, you know, I'll just defer and say, yes, we will be out there and you'll see us out there in Quincy, but I would love to come back to this idea of the way in which Fair Saturday really helps to elevate arts and culture and those experiences in the mind of people. And there's an amazing international opportunity that one organization is going to have as a part of this organization for this celebration this year.
Well, let's talk about that because you are going to conduct a chorus later tonight here in Quincy. Talk a little bit about that. It is a practice for Fair Saturday.
Yeah, well, this is very exciting. So the international opening of First Saturday will take place in Bilbao the previous day to First Saturday, the 29th of November. And it will be an amazing show for 7,000 people in Bilbao Arena. With more than 1,000 artists. We have a huge orchestra and a choir composed of many organizations from all across the Bay of Biscay region. And for the Basque people, there is, among others, there is a very special song. The song is named Agur Jaunak. And this song is not a sacred song, but almost. This is the song the Basque people used to sing to say hello, goodbye, but to show respect. So basically the song says, I show my respect to you. And this is going to be the first song to be performed on the international opening for First Saturday. And the song is going to be performed by the Quincy Choral Society.
Correct.
So today we will film Agur Jaunak, and many people, many choirs will join Quincy Choral Society live, performing.
Many choirs.
Yeah, performing. 1,000 people performing Agur Jaunak. Probably Agur Jaunak, I could say. In Scotland we have Auld Lang Syne, there are many songs worldwide. This is one of the international songs, Agur Jaunak. I would say one of the most special songs to say we respect you, and this is a song very appropriate for the times we are living now. We need to say respect you, we need to say let's work together.
Which is what Fair Saturday is
All
about.
about. And Jordy's not telling you the full story. He's conducting them because in his other life, he was actually a choral master. He does that for a living on the side. So the Choral Society, who embraced this concept immediately, prior to even meeting Jordy, were so excited to get involved. Then they met Jordy, had a wonderful breakfast with him, embraced it even more so, and then when he made this suggestion, they said, we're over the moon, we're interested, we'd like to do it. So then we put the pieces of the puzzle together. Jordy was coming back to visit us this week, and lo and behold, he's going to conduct them tonight.
So from America to Spain, and then, of course, on the Fair Saturday day, the events are all centered in Quincy.
Right.
That's right. In conjunction with well over 180, 190 cities across the world.
Well, we certainly look forward to more information about this event as it gets closer to Fair Saturday. I do want, again, to let folks know that you can visit the Fair Saturday website. That is fairsaturday.org for all information and updates, correct?
Right.
Yes.
Well, thank you all. John, Jordy, Bob, and Maureen did need to step out. She was an integral part of this show. I thank you all for coming in, and keep us up to date. And good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Mark.
you.
Thank you, Mark.
And thank you at home for watching. You have been watching a program of Quincy Access Television. Please continue to watch QATV for more locally produced programming.